madness, 50 million euros on Matheus Nunes of Sporting. This is a perfect signing for Wolves in terms of profile. Wolves have needed a central midfielder that can carry the ball for fucking ages, bro. And look, I'm not saying Matheus Nunes is perfect. I'm not saying we've got some mad bargain in terms of the fee. But in terms of the profile, Wolves have needed a central midfielder that can carry the ball for probably 5 years. But even Nuno needed one. I never understood why we bought one. And we've finally gone and got one. And one that's like genuinely one of the best in Europe at it. In the Champions League, this is a guy that's completing 3 dribbles per 90. But anyway, Champions League is a bit of an unfair thing to say. But, look, by the way, I'm not saying Wolves don't have players that can dribble the ball. We have fucking loads of them. If anything, we have too many people that do that. This season in the Premier League, we've attempted the most dribbles, and we're second in terms of successful dribbles. Last season, obviously in Bruno's first season, we attempted the most and had the most successful ones. So I'm not saying we can't dribble the ball, okay? I'm not saying we need Nunes because we have no one that can carry the ball. We have loads of players that can carry the ball. However, we don't have one in the middle. And this is after the Fulham game. I said on Twitter that the reason we lost that game was because of Leander Dendoncker and he was shit. And people were getting mad at me and saying, oh, you just hate Dendoncker, like he was great, like did you not watch the game? Look, I'm not saying Dendoncker doesn't have his uses. I'm not saying Giammattino doesn't have his uses. Same with Ruben, obviously. But teams have worked us out. All of our good stuff's out wide. And all Fulham did was they stuck their wingers on our fullbacks. So we couldn't play it out wide and progress the ball out wide. And they went, go on then, come through the middle. And normally that's a terrible idea because most teams, obviously it's easier to get through the middle and go to goal. But with us, we don't have anything through the middle. Ruben can only pass to what's in front of him. And then you've got Leander Dendoncker, who can't progress the ball and he's just kind of there doing nothing. If Wolves had Matheus Nunes against Fulham, all of a sudden they can't just mark our fullbacks and that's it because Nunes can carry the ball forward. Whereas Ruben Neves and Dendoncker, they're both immobile. So look, I'm not saying Wolves don't need a striker, but buying a midfielder who can carry the ball like Nunes will make us score more goals than buying a striker. This is why everyone moaned at Fabio Silva. They moan at Jimenez and they moan at William Jose and Hwang and Trincao and all these guys. All that, it's not a coincidence all of our forwards over the last 2-3 years have been shit or bang average because we don't actually have a coherent way of getting the ball to them to create chances. I'm not saying that's all on central midfield. I'm not saying Nunez is going to solve all of that on his own, but it will help. Having a guy who can actually just progress the ball and get it through the middle will help because then it will draw players from out wide into the pitch and then that will allow Nuri and Semedo and Neto and Morgan to get more space. Having a guy that can take on players like Nunez can, in high percentiles for ball carries and dribbles and all that. Having a guy that can move the ball through the middle of the pitch will force players into the pitch and then it leaves space out wide. It just feels like whenever we play a team right now, they stick players on Nuri and they stick players on Semedo or Neto, whoever's out wide, and they're like, go on, then go through the middle. And we can't do it because we don't have everyone in the middle and fucking carry the ball. We have beautiful, technical players on the ball. That just, the amount of times Kilman and Collins had the ball, they passed it to Neves and Dendoncker, and they can't carry the ball, and the fullbacks are marked. They just have to go back. And then eventually they get bored and punt a long ball, and then you have nowhere to go. Nunez solves that issue for me. This is a guy that in Liga NOS last season was completing 2.5 successful dribbles. So it's not like just in the Champions League, his numbers were popping. But I don't know why that would be the case, but he's completing 2.5, and 70% of his overall dribbles were successful. Compare that to Kovacic, who's one of the best ball-carrying central midfielders in the Premier League. He's always been in top metrics for that. 1.5 successful dribbles and 75% success rate, so that's obviously a bit higher. But look, I'm not saying Nunez will perfectly translate that. He's not going to be in as much of a ball-dominant side at Wolves. That probably will drop off a little bit. But even if Nunez is crap or not as good as he is in Liga NOS, he's not going to lose that ability to carry the ball. He's done it at Champions League level and he's a good age and he's clearly physical enough. He won't just lose that overnight. Even if Nunez is an average passer and an average defender and average in the air, if he's still an elite ball carrier like his numbers suggest in the Premier League, in the Champions League and in Liga NOS, I think he'll just come in and change so much. Look, I think Wolves have overpaid a little bit, if I'm being totally honest with you. This is a guy that's 24 in a week and only ever played in Liga NOS. So I think paying 50 million euros is a bit of an overpayment. But look, he's on a long contract. Bruno clearly wants him. He's got no injury record, at least according to Transfermarkt. I don't know how accurately Transfermarkt kind of tracks Liga NOS injury records. So maybe that's just a load of bollocks. But this is, first of all, fair play to Wolves, by the way. Our net spend's going to be, 20 on Collins, 27 on Guedes, and now 40 on on Nunez. That's high, man. That's getting up towards 80 million. And this was the key position. I know we needed a centre back. I know we needed a striker. I know we needed wide depth. This was the key position, and Wolves have gone and done it and gone and bought an experienced guy. They haven't gone and got Czech Decore, or not that I don't like Czech Decore, but they've got a guy's not Czech Decore, but they've got Boubacar Traore. They've gone and got a proven-ish kind of guy, at least in the eyes of Fosun, and you have to respect that. And by the way, this is why we didn't buy Polinia. All these people are going, oh, why didn't Wolves buy João Polinia? One, because we probably knew Nunez was coming. But this is the guy we need. This is the profile we need. You know, these people that were like, oh, just go and buy João Polinia and stick him next to Neves. No, we need some ball progression in the midfield. We finally got it, man. And also, by the way, this allows us to obviously switch to a midfield three as well. Like in pre-season, I thought we looked a lot better in a 4-3-3. I don't think Nunez has ever played in a 3-4 in a 4-3-3. I know Sporting play a 3-4-3, right? But I'd assume now we'll probably play a midfield three. I assume Nunez plays off the left according to his heat maps anyway. He plays more on the left of midfield two at Sporting, so I don't know. That's normally where Moutinho plays for us. So I don't know if we're going to have to move him over to the right. But I think a midfield three of Moutinho, Nunez and Neves is perfectly balanced. You've got Neves who's your defensive guy and he's a good passer and he dictates the game. But mainly there for his defensive attributes, right? You got Moutinho as a good orchestrator, he's a good leader. We'll probably need that for Connor Cody. And then you've got Nunez who can be your driving force. That just feels like a really nicely balanced midfield three. I still think we need another midfielder, by the way. You know, you can't just have Dendoncker as your only backup, but this allows us to switch to midfield three, and it allows us to progress the ball through the middle. And he's got no injury record. I just don't see any downsides to it. It's back in the manager. And I think it will allow our attackers to get kind of some freedom, you know. The only little concerns I'd have with it is he's 24 now, Nunez. I know it says he's 23, but his birthday is the 27th of August. He's 24. He has to perform now. This can't be some Fabio Silva, Semedo thing where it's like, they kind of, I don't think Semedo was that bad first year, by the way. Neither Fabio, but you get the point. You know, those two had the reputation of being shit in their first year. That can't be the case with Nunez. We need a midfielder now, and we're paying big boy money now. Nunez can't come in and just be shit for a year. We need him now. And coming out of Liga NOS will be hard. So maybe that's a concern. Maybe if he's going to play a bit more off the right, he's only really playing on the left. Maybe that's a concern. I don't know. I think the fee is a bit high. Like I do think 50 million euros is a bit ridiculous, to be honest. But you know, he's highly rated, and if it's a number one target, then fair play, I guess. And the only, I guess, concern is the opportunity cost. You know, if this means Wolves can't get a competent striker in, then again that's a concern. But I still stand by the fact midfield has held back Wolves for years, and it's Wolves' biggest issue. And I think some football fans just look and go, Wolves don't score goals. The reason Wolves don't score goals is because we don't have a striker, and that's fair. But like, you know, I saw someone against Fulham say, well, we do create chances. Look at the chances we had, but like, the chances we had against Fulham were just Pedro Neto getting in behind. They weren't like coherent movement. It wasn't like, oh, if we had a better striker, we would have scored, because none of our chances fell to Hwang, who was playing up front. The way to create chances is to move the ball forward and create stuff. It's not complicated. Like, if you create chances, your striker will score eventually. You know, you could stick anyone up front from Man City and they'll score because they create so many fucking chances. If Wolves have a midfielder that can carry the ball, it gives you way more space for your fullbacks, and it will which I assume will mean they'll be able to carry the ball and create chances for the striker. I think, I'd personally, this is just me, I'd rather have a really good midfielder in Nunez and have a bang average striker, let's say Batshuayi or the other Hwang we've been linked with, than have a really good striker, I don't know, Belotti. I mean, I don't really rate Belotti, but everyone else does. I'd rather have Nunez and an average striker and have a really good striker but an average midfielder. There's no point having a good striker if you can't create anything for them. And I think that's what Nunez will allow us to do, assuming he adapts. It's back in the manager, there's no injury record, he can carry the ball. It's exactly what we've needed. And the club are back in the manager and spending money. And of course there's the issue of maybe we'll have to sell someone to fund this. I guess, maybe, but who cares? I'll worry about that when that happens. Right now, Neves isn't leaving. We've got a midfielder who can carry the ball. We've got a good centre-back and we've got a good winger. And Wolves, by the way, Wolves have bought two proven players now in Guedes and Nunez. I can't remember the last time that happened, and Collins has adapted. So you have to give credit to the Wolves recruitment. But this is just a perfect signing. I know I've said it like 5 times, but buying a midfielder that can fucking dribble the ball, we've needed it for so long. And I hope this doesn't fall through, by the way. It wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea came in and tried to offer this or something, but especially because it looks like they're missing out on Frankie de Jong. But if this comes over the line, this is the best bit of business Fosun have done in ages. And fair play to the club. And I hope he settles, because if he does, Wolves could hunt for Europe. I genuinely believe that's how much us not having a competent ball carrying midfielder is affecting us. Every other good side in the league has one, and we don't. So, yeah, that's all my thoughts. I think it's a great signing. And fair play to the club. You have to bow your hat and say fair play, even if you're one of the people that wants Fosun out. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, peace.